Hi, and welcome to The Art of Loving Well. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to be here today and to have you here. And we're going to learn something about love. Anybody need some of that? All right, this show is about learning to love well. My name is Wolfgang, and I want to share with you some rich, relevant truths and some skills to help us love well. I believe that to love well is to live well. And this is something we want to keep growing in, because without love, we are nothing. And you don't want that, do you? Now, we are really excited. Today is really exciting because this is the final session, the final episode of our Date Talk series. This is episode 6. And we have been on an amazing journey of learning to do relationships better. This has been particularly for single people, trying to look at some truth, some wisdom on how to do this relationship journey, this dating journey. How do these two become one in a healthy way, in a way that doesn't destroy you or others around you? So we've been on a great journey. So previously we've done 5 episodes, and I hope you'll catch up, take some time, find them online, catch up, because these will really help you to do relationships well. Now, previous episode was all about sex, and you definitely want to get that one. So it got a little hot in you. But this final session we're going to call Doing It the Highway. And I want to go straight to our manual and get back to looking at some instructions from the maker to us on how to get the best out of this product called life and relationships. And I want to go back to 1 Thessalonians 4. Verses 2, or just verse 1 really. And let's just go into the manual and see what we can learn there about how to do it right. Now, previously we've looked at what's the typical dating pattern that ends up with just a ditch or a dent or just a big crash. It doesn't go anywhere, it ends up nowhere. We also, and we looked at, we said that we would look at, well, what's the right way to do it? So let's just go to the manual and read a few truths over there. And again, we're not looking for rules, we're looking for revelation. Okay, rules will sort of help us, but never really keep us going in the right direction. It's revelation of truth. Truth sets us free. Truth is a person. His name is Jesus, and he's here to help you and guide you. So it says over there that 1 Thessalonians 4, it says, it is God's will that you should avoid sex. No, we dealt with that last time. Not avoid sex, avoid sexual immorality and fornication. And then it says this, it is God's will that you should learn. So God wants to teach us something. He wants us to learn. The Maker wants to teach us how to do this well. And he says we should learn to control our own body in a way that is holy and honorable, and not in lustful passion like those who do not God or his way. So we should control ourselves. Remember, that's restraint. Okay, if you have a vision, you can restrain yourself. You can say no to some things and to no to some people. There's some people you need to say no to. Some people that come, and you can keep going in the direction that is your destiny. So over here we saw that there were 2 ways to do this. There is the holy and honorable way, and there is the lustful passion way. And we've looked at that lustful passion way, where it takes us. So now I want to invite you to join me on a journey today to look at what does this holy and honorable way look like. And holy and honorable speaks of understanding that this is a valuable, this is a treasured journey. This is something valuable. The people involved, you, everyone has high value, and you want to treat it as such as you travel on this road. Okay, so let's have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down into 3 sections. I'm going to talk in this highway, I'm going to talk about the highway promise. We first need a promise. What is the promise? We're going to talk about the highway code. Don't know if you've got your driver's license, but there is a code. You can't just drive any way you want to on the highway, okay? And secondly, thirdly, we're going to just describe the highway journey. What does this typical journey look like? We looked at what the typical journey down Lover's Lane looked like. What does this highway journey typically look like? Again, we are looking at principles. We are looking at patterns. We're not being absolute, this is how you have to do it, but we are looking at some principles that will help us walk in this truth. Okay, are you ready? Number one is the highway promise. Okay, there is a great promise, and you can find it in the book. In Matthew, Jesus said that in Matthew 6:33. He said this, he said, if you seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, being right with me, being in relationship with me, if you seek first my kingdom and righteousness, all these things that everybody is seeking and that you're seeking will be added to you. That's a great promise, isn't it? In fact, in the Message translation of the manual, it says it this way. He says, steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. That's for someone here today. Don't worry about missing out. He says, you'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. That's beautiful, isn't it? This is an amazing promise. This is the highway promise. And the promise basically says that if you will commit to getting on the highway and staying on the highway in relationship with God, all the things that you want, that you seek, will be added to you as you stay on the highway. If you stay on the highway, they will be added. If you stay on the highway, you don't have to grab, God will add. Okay? If you stay on the highway and you don't compromise, you don't get off it, and you fully trust, God, your Creator, will take care of you today, tomorrow, forever. This is the great highway promise. So first thing I want to encourage you is embrace the highway promise, because it's good. It's a promise not just for today, but forever. And it says that if you seek the kingdom, you know, Jesus once said, the kingdom is like a man who found a treasure in a field. He wanted the treasure. We all want stuff, don't we? Maybe you want a relationship. We want something. But then it says, but that man went and bought the whole field so that he could have the treasure. And this is the same. Let's buy into the whole. Let's wholly commit ourselves to the King and his kingdom, and trusting that as we do that, all that we need will be added to us. It'll stick to us like glue. It'll come to us as we stay on this highway. So that simply is the highway promise. So the second thing you need to know on this road is the code, okay? You need to get the license to travel on this highway. Not anybody is allowed on this highway. You can't just drive as you want. So here are a few things. I'm going to give you 7 things about this highway, the code on this highway. Code number one is only lovers allowed. On the highway, not anybody is allowed to drive on the highway, okay? Like if you're a novice, lusters are not allowed on the highway. Only lovers allowed on the highway. The highway is the love way. It's not the lust way. If you're a luster, or if other person's a luster, they're not on the highway. They're not allowed on the highway. And I want to encourage you, decide to be a lover, okay? And a lover is somebody who lives to give, to bless others, rather than just to receive and take from others. A lover loves themselves. Okay, you're on the highway. I'm loved by God, and I love myself so I can love others on the highway. So number 1 code, only lovers allowed. Number 2, value your fellow travelers on the highway. Okay, this is not just about you. It's about others traveling with you. So those traveling on the highway, treat others as having high value too, not just thinking about their own needs. Some other people on the highway are not options for you because they're already taken. They've already said, I do or I will to somebody else. So value each other. So secondly, value your fellow travelers. Thirdly, you ready for this one? Change lanes carefully and clearly on the highway. I don't know if you've ever driven on the highway and someone's like swerving across the lanes like this. Listen, some lanes on the highway do merge, but be patient. The first aspect of love in the good book, 1 Corinthians 13 is, love is? Patient. Some lanes do merge, but be patient, travel, and when you are going to merge lanes, when two are going to get closer, please indicate clearly. Don't just like swerve out to the other side. Indicate clearly. Put on the indicator, look in the rearview mirror, move over, okay? And this means communicate clearly what your intentions are with fellow travelers. And remember, the understanding the opposite sex one, okay, they don't communicate like we communicate. Like you have to think, what do I need to say and do to make sure my intentions are clear to the other fellow travelers? So communicate your actions. And I used to have a car that if you let go of the steering wheel, not recommended on the highway, but if you did, it would always like veer to the side. I mean, it just, you had to kind of always hold it like this. And some people are like, don't be like that. Get that fixed, okay? Some people just like travel like this. They're always leaning. Some people, have you ever seen someone with an indicator on all the time? You want to say to them, switch that thing off, okay? And some people just, they can't just stay in their lane. They always have to move over, always looking. And that is more like the chase we spoke about in the previous episode, isn't it? Okay, so change lanes carefully and clearly. Number 4. Get insurance. Okay, when you're traveling on that highway, you must have insurance to go on the highway. And this is what, there's a great company for getting this kind of insurance. It's called Courtship. The owners of that company are your friends, your family, your pastor, good books on dating, the Bible, who else is in there? Just whoever can help you on this journey. When you have an accident, whoever can help you, they make up your courtship. Now listen, courtship is simply this. Courtship is a mature response, a mature attitude that says, I need help to choose my helper. That's what the attitude is. Courtship recognizes that love is blind and blinkered, and once I get focused on somebody, I'm going to just, my tendency is to isolate, so I want to open myself up to other voices, to other helps, to help me 360, not just what I want to see, but help me see the full picture, and help me to come to a decision. Now, this is the thing about courtship. Some people say, oh, well, the other people make decisions for me. No. In this court, you are the one who has to make the judgment. Others are just giving you their opinions. Ultimately, you're going to stand at the altar and you're going to say, I do. You're not going to say, my mother thinks he's great. So in the courtship, you still have the responsibility ultimately to make the decision. But it's a mature attitude that says, I'm open to other people speaking in, telling me what they see, and I'm willing to do that so that I can have help to choose my helper. And by the way, when do you take out insurance? It's not once you have an accident, right? It's like, then it's too late, okay? Once you have a crash and you might be on this highway and change lanes, or someone bumps into you and you get all hurt and stuff, that is not the time to go looking for insurance. Please, Pastor, help me. Please, friend, help me. No, you start taking out insurance today. Build some friendships. Have 1 or 2 people that you can open your life up to, that you give permission to ask you the difficult questions in your life. Be in places where you are accountable now, so that when you need the accountability, it'll already be there. Does it make sense? Don't travel alone and then get in, and when something goes wrong, you get desperate. This will help you, okay? Let's go to the next one. No towing allowed on the highway. Okay, no towing allowed. Don't drag someone who doesn't want to be up on that highway up there. This is called mission dating. Okay. Now, I know that there are some people, I know and you know, that that's worked for. Okay, they dragged someone up there, they gave their lives to Jesus Christ, and off they went, and they lived happily after. They are the exception, and here's my advice to you. Just assume you're not the exception. It might work for a few people, but it doesn't work for most people. And if you are not a Christian watching this, then here's my advice to you. Don't let someone drag you up on their highway. Don't make a commitment to a Christian to have an exclusive relationship with them, because 1 or 2 things will happen. Either they will keep pestering you to come to church with them, to believe in Jesus, to change your life against your will, or they will actually compromise what they believed before they met you and go down the road with you, and then you have a huge problem. Because if the Christian can give up the thing that they say is so valuable for you, what chance have you got that they're not going to cheat on you? So my advice to you, if you're a non-Christian, is don't get serious with a Christian and let them drag you up on the highway. Stay friends, and let's be good friends, whether we are Christians or not, right? Okay, the next one is this, number 6, observe the speed limit. On the highway, there is a speed limit, not too fast and also not too slow, okay? Speed kills, they say, right? And so it'll kill your relationship. Too fast often means that eros, that sexual, romantic love comes on there very quickly, and then it's over. And also not too slow. If someone is just not making a move and they're not sharing their intention, then somebody wake them up, blow a hoot or horn or something and say, come on, I need to know what your intentions are. Okay, and then the last one is this, obey the signs. As you go on this journey, there are signs on the highway that you must obey. Signs like stop, signs like slow down, signs like beware. Okay, and these signs, you've got to learn to read the signs that help you to slow down, stop some relationships. Some signs may be manipulation. That's a sign. Lies, deceiving you, compromise, controlling you, manipulating you, verbal, sexual, physical abuse or pressure rising you, violating boundaries that you've agreed. When you see these signs, friend, you got to put on the brakes and probably run. Okay, this is not someone you want to travel with on the highway. If they're doing it to you while you're dating, you've got no chance that they're going to change once you say, I do. Read the signs and obey them. Okay, so we've looked at the promise. We've looked at the code. Let's spend some few minutes traveling on the highway. What does this journey look like? What is this holy and honorable journey? What could it look like? Once again, I'm not prescribing things to you. I'm just wanting to illustrate what that journey could look like. Well, it starts like this. It starts with you being all one. Remember that? Episode number 2, I'll have a whole one, please. I'm committed to personal wholeness. So I'm all one. It always begins with me. It begins right on the inside. Okay, so I start with this commitment to becoming the person that the person I'm looking for is looking for. Okay, I'm committed to become that person that the person I'm looking for is looking for. So when they find me, they'll find the whole me. Okay, because if that person were to find you, what are they going to find? Let them find a whole you. Okay, so that's the first part of the journey. It begins with me making commitment to personal wholeness. And check out episode 2 if you missed that. From there, we might say, well, it continues with acquaintance. Do you have acquaintances? Just you're going through life, you bump into people at work, you bump into people at the gym, you bump into people at church, you bump into people on the tube. I mean, just wherever you are traveling or playing, they're just people you bump into, right? Just all sorts of people. People on social media, people at your hobbies. You're just walking through a crowd. Okay, and there are a lot of people in our world that we just rub shoulders with lightly or spend more time with. And from that crowd, the next step from acquaintance is typically friendship. Okay? Friendship. On the journey that as you're walking along, you start to discover that some people are actually walking with you, generally. They're going in the same sort of direction as you. Okay, those are the people that are our friends. Friends are typically not people if they're going that way and I'm going that way. They're people that are going. They're people of all shapes and sizes, of colors. Some are pink, yellow, blue, whatever. They are single, some are divorced, some are old, some are young, some are physically in shape, some are not. Some are rich, some are poor, some are tall, short, whatever. There are all sorts of people. They're our friends, and this is a great discovery. Friendship. We all need friends, don't we? Part of our journey is of relationship, of healthy relationship, is to have healthy friendships. We learn to relate to people. We share things. We do life together. And friendship is a safe environment to discover the real you and the real other. Okay? You will not discover the real other just in isolation, but in friendship, doing stuff together, serving together. All right? doing stuff together. That's when you see a man or a woman, how they serve others, that'll be a great indicator of how they'll serve you. In our church, I can't tell you how many people have met and married because they've served together on a team, AV team, or host, whatever team, because they're doing stuff together. They get to know one another. They get to see how you serve, not just how you love, okay? There's a lot. You get to see how they relate to other people and treat other people. Great insight is gained when you do things together as friendships, as friends. And in friendship, it's also not this try before you buy stuff, okay? In friendship, we give each other space to be ourselves. We also don't pressurize in a culture of friendship. We don't pressure. We don't say stupid things like, "When's someone like you going to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend? When are you going to get married?" And especially, let me just speak to churches out there. That is stuff that you need to erase from your culture. That sort of language. That's just stupid. That just messes up the highway journey for everybody. Okay, so friendship. So at this stage, you're on the highway with friends, sort of going in the same direction as you. By and large, you're advancing. You're seeking the king and his kingdom. You're not seeking a girlfriend. You're like Adam. He's been made. And at a certain point, he recognizes a need, and God says, this man needs some help. Okay, and he goes and he's got a need, but he knows God is working on it. God says, I will make him a helper comparable to him. And Adam doesn't lose any sleep about it, right? Actually, he does go to sleep. And while he is sleeping, while he is resting, while he is staying on the highway, God is doing something about it. Okay? And this is again, our faith in the highway promise that God is making what I need. He wakes up. He's been looking around. He's checked out all the animals that have come past him. He said, no, those are not good for me. I want something else. And then he sees her and he says, wow, man. That's why he called her woman. Okay. There is, after friendship, at some point, there is this wow moment. Now that, in my experience, comes in different ways. Sometimes it is like Adam, love at first sight. Wow, man, you are the one I've been waiting for, preparing for all my life. It's amazing. It doesn't always happen like that, does it? Sometimes it isn't like, wow, it's like just you're walking, you go, wow. Okay. You've been walking a while, you've been friends. Wow, suddenly you're there. And I know many couples like that who've gone on a journey for months or years, and then suddenly, wow. Sometimes it's not even wow or wow. It's just a I recently married a couple that have known each other for years as friends. Years, since university days. And just last year sometime it was like a And that turned into And then a wow. And then they said, I do at the altar. It happens in different ways for different people. But the question is, well, how do you know? Listen, you will know when you're in love. Okay? And you might need a few things. I always say, if you're making big decisions, you need at least three R's to line up. The R for romance. What's in your heart? What do you love? Who do you love? The second R is for revelation. What do you see your Father saying? And that's often amplified by the court. If you put a good court in place, they will help echo that voice. There's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. And the third R for whether they're right is reality. So romance, what's in your heart. Revelation, what comes from heaven. And reality is, are you ready for this? Have you got a job? Are you 16 years old? Are you married already to someone else? I mean, there's reality. Are you still studying? I mean, just all these realities, they may not mean that you can't have a relationship, but they certainly would affect the timing of it. So this wow is not just the heart thing. The heart needs to be guarded above all things, right? Because our heart can deceive us. So we need to guard our heart. We need to put truth inside it. And we need to put a courtship around it to help us make sure that the wow is based on the correct criteria. Because, listen, it's so easy, especially for guys. We get, when the wow is wow, then suddenly we have that, what we call the brain relocation phenomena. BRP. Okay, that's when you've made some decisions in your head, but in that second, when you see each other, when the passion starts rising, and we should have talked about this under the lover's laneway, but when you see the passion rising, what happens is your thinking goes from your head down to about 50 centimeters to your loins, and you don't start thinking clearly anymore. And it happens in about, for a woman, that journey from the head to the heart probably takes about 20 to 30 minutes in that time of passion. But for a man, it's like 2 minutes. And before you know it, you've ditched all your criteria and it's happening. And so you need to be aware that the criteria, the thing you're reaching for, the promise, is clear. And when that wow happens, make sure that you keep the criteria clear and have some people talking to you to help make sure that your love is not blind and blinkered. That's how I think we get to the place of the one. From there, what I would highly recommend is some good marriage preparation. Do not think just because you have a wow, you're ready for marriage. It takes serious work. We spend years preparing for our careers. We need to put something in to prepare for our future that we're going to spend with someone for the rest of our lives. There's engagement. Engagement is never just a sort of deposit booking somebody. No, it's saying with every intent of my heart, I intend to marry you. This is a deal. Okay. Of course, then there's the I do, and there's all that. There's sex and children. Remember that. And grandchildren. That's important to remember, because when you gaze far into the future, this is what you're going to be doing with this wow person you're connecting to. It's not just the moment. It's not just the sex. It's kids. It's grandchildren. It's doing life together, and all that throws at you. This, friend, is typically the journey of the highway of relationship. You might just locate yourself on that journey. I want to encourage you, ask yourself, how are you doing with the code? How are you doing on this journey? And evaluate your own life and where you've been and where you're at according to these things. And I really pray that you'll come to some conclusions of maybe some attitudes you need to change, some areas you need to change your mind on, change your heart in, some things you need to commit to. And I want to end with this reminder that in Psalm 139, the last 2 verses, David prays this again. He says, "Search my heart, O God, and see if there is any wicked way in me, any wrong way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Because, friend, the best way for you to walk in is the way of Jesus, is the way of truth, is the way of his life. And when you commit to that promise, and when you walk in his wisdom, and when you walk in his ways, you will find life, and everything that you seek and that everyone else is seeking will be added to you. The date truth as we end this is that there is a better way, and it's his way. It's the highway. So God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Date Talk adventure, these 6 episodes. We're going to be back at some stage with more on the show, The Art of Loving Well. But until that time, I hope and pray that your relationship life will be hugely blessed and you'll experience the very best God intended for you. God bless you. Thank you very much.